weekly sit-down with local agricultural leaders and businesses. This is Tailgate Conversations. Sponsored by Pinnaker Chevrolet. We have visited the campus of Missouri State University's Dar College of Agriculture a number of times, but today I get to introduce you to Dr. Anson Elliott, the reason I and so many other alumni have chosen to walk the halls of Carls Hall many times. So Dr. Elliott, I remember you telling us that not a day has gone by that agriculture wasn't taught here at Missouri State University, going back to its beginnings.
That's a point of pride that agriculture was viewed as so important in this region and the state, that it was always a part of the curriculum as courses. In the early days, elementary teachers, of course, was what the focus, and the high school teachers, and they had a class actually in agriculture.
And the football field was?
Yeah, that was the farm. That was where horticulture plots, and early photographs shows it right outside of Carrington.
So fast forwarding from 1905, when Missouri State University was founded, to the days that you came to Missouri State. What brought you to Missouri State, and kind of share your background?
Well, I was raised in Houston, Missouri. My sister came to Missouri State, but I wanted to be an ag teacher. And so my ag teacher took me to Columbia, which was the location to go in those days. And then I became a teacher. But then I was handed an opportunity to get my master's degree, and I got the master's degree, but I was interrupted a bit, and so I came back and taught at Clever for 2 years. Went back, finished my doctorate, went to Minnesota as a plant geneticist, was there 5 years, 5.5, developed a variety.
Wild rice, correct?
Wild rice. It was a native grain. So important, so interesting, but I also developed a terrible allergy, and they told me I had to quit, or the doctors did. They wanted me to stay, but I said, no, I know a place that I'd like to go. And lo and behold, I came home to we came to see my mom, and there was an opening. I called, and so I applied, and I came here as a professor in 1978.
I remember I sent you an email my junior or senior year of high school, and I was preparing for my prepared public speaking speech in FFA, and I asked you about students and your philosophy back then. And I remember you said that college was not about collecting that 125 hours of college credit, that it was so much more. And you talked about creating a package for each student, but it was unique to that student.
It really grew out of even the foundation. There was a time whenever the faculty, it was blank sheet of paper, and the faculty advisor and the student wrote out what they needed. We became so much more formal that it was too formal, to the point where we felt that, okay, we got to loosen this thing up. And we can make substitutes. We're not going to weaken it, and you got to have core. But then let's do some individualized listening. So everything's been on firm student first, involvement of the public, and seeing the growth of what agriculture really is.
I've heard you say 100 times that your personal philosophy, and a philosophy that you have instilled with everyone here, is excellence with that care factor. And that care factor was beyond the true hardcore academic classes, but centered around leadership. And one of the classes that you instilled was a leadership class, and I remember taking that, and that's where I got to meet the Charlie Cruzes of the world, and the directors of agriculture, and put a face, and I got to they got to put a face to young leaders. And what was the philosophy then about creating that leadership course?
I'm sure I picked it up from someplace, I think at Texas Tech. I was very much involved with the national, and I gleaned some good ideas, but one of them was, we saw lots of great leaders in high school. Well, we wanted to be able to say, okay, we've got a place for you, and also have leadership in that place. So we started that, and not only was it a great way to bring students in, but then it gave me an excuse to bring the best leaders in the state in. And then they got to see our great students, and they went back all over the state saying, boy, these students are on fire. And so in a way, and yes, I really appreciated Charlie and many others, but he said that this place has a care factor that's uncommon. But I wanted to make sure that our faculty understand we're after excellence too.
As we walk Jernigan Road here,
Yeah.
I look and we have the Bond Center, we have Pinnager Arena, we have the Animal Lab just ahead of us, horses, and that's the current, and the past. But if we look over here, we have the site of the future, and that's the most recent contribution from the DARS, and having an ag magnet school and a small animal training center that are coming soon. So summing all this up, you know, you're now retired.
Yeah.
Finally, you tried to leave so many times and we kept pulling you back in. You're still truly committed, but what does all this mean, or has it meant to you?
Well, one other is, this is a demonstration where clean water right here, and there's in the Bond building, we have conferences from all aspects, but we bring in national groups, but we have clean water. We have, and we're capturing water here. So many different practices right here are shown. But yeah, of course, again, all of our presidents have been supportive. But to make things really happen along with them has been the need for our donors. And then also people like Roy Blunt, Senator Bond. They have seen a need, and they've helped really immensely with our university faculty, administrators, in getting access to federal grants. That has brought in many dollars to help out, to function, to develop students and research with students and the public.
Everywhere you go, you run into former students, and so many success stories. Any that you'd like to share?
You know, how could I do it? We had one in particular, Randy Mooney, was honored by the Missouri State as the outstanding alumni this last year. I could spend all of this time just listing, and you being one of them as well.
Well,
and,
thank you.
So
you're taking everything you've done, whether it was in a high school classroom, here at Missouri State, but now internationally with Convoy of Hope, all centered around ag education.
Yes, and you mentioned Convoy and Hal Donaldson, and that team is amazing. And one of the things that it's been a very successful program, and he cautions people, no place for arrogance. Arrogance puts a shield over blessings. And you know, it's quite a story.
It is.
And but we've had that with our students going around. One of our students went on an internship, and he came back 30 years ago. We're just as good as they are, from Purdue and all these big schools. I said, yes, you're just as good. Not better, just as good.
Well,
nobody's better.
Yeah, you've equipped these students for generations to be able to stand up, throw their shoulders back, and be proud to be an ag bear. Yeah,
it's a great team. And students and donors and administrators, Cliff Smart as well, and and Dr. Nitzel, he had vision. He was here whenever we got the Jernigan Ranch. So every one of these presidents has been so supportive, because they've seen that agriculture is #1 industry in the state. It's got tentacles throughout the state, and that's what our students are doing. They're everywhere.
They are everywhere.
And it's pretty cool, because it wasn't always like that.